True or false? Your brother died in your arms.
Yeah, that's true.
Can you explain what happened there?
Yeah, pretty much. My brother had got diagnosed with cancer maybe like 6 months prior, and you know, my brother had, he got cancer, and already building up to it, I kind of pretty much already was preparing myself. Sometimes I ask myself like, what, which part of death is better, right? You got the anticipated death, right, where someone has an illness and you kind of wait for their body to disintegrate, or you have the sudden death. You got the car accident, the stabbing, the murder, and I always puzzle myself every time like I think about this because like, would you rather have like that anticipated, that waiting for that your family or your loved one to die, but you have the opportunity to tell them you love them, to tell them goodbye and have that closure, or that fast just death where it could come and you could grieve faster. And yeah, pretty much like that. These were all the things that were going through my mind prior. So on the day of my birthday, unfortunately, like my the doctors came and told my family that the doctors came and told my family that he was gonna die. He had less than a week to live. And so, they prepared it, they sent him back home where we could like just have our last moments with him. And oh man, just leading up to it was crazy, because it was just me and him and it's my parents. So I was kind of looked at as like the rock, the person to build up everybody. I was keeping everybody together, talking to the doctors, talking to all these people that, talking to my mom and dad don't really speak like very fluent English. So I was the one translating and picking the hospitals, deciding whether or not he was gonna get chemo or not. And so you know, when the chemo didn't work, they told us that. And so when they brought him back, I just was preparing myself, and sure enough, like 9 days later, it's funny, right? And to all the viewers watching, I hope you got you a lot of. I know maybe a lot of you would relate to this. Is that when you're waiting for someone to die, it's the hardest thing in the world. Just like I said, when you're anticipating it, it's insanely just it crushes you moments because it's like you don't want that person to go, but they're suffering. So when my brother was on that bed, like, he just didn't look himself anymore. His eyes were like rolling back to his head, and you know, it's funny. Like, I was going through the process of it, and when we had that last heart to heart, he couldn't even speak no more. All he could do, you knew he could hear, but he couldn't speak. It's like his face couldn't move. Like that's what happens when your body's just giving out in itself, especially through like the cancer medicine and everything like that. And so you know, when he was in that last, just breathing stages, I just knew that it was about to happen. And then, sure enough, he gave this last breath, and it was literally like Smallz. Like this was literally the scariest thing. Like it was so scary. Like I couldn't even cry. You know what I mean? It's like I couldn't even. Like it would so traumatize me that it almost felt like my world froze in front of me. Seeing someone's last final breath. And the face they do, the twitch. I won't replicate it on camera, obviously, but to see that just his body go soulless was insane. And then having to watch my mom, I remember, I will never forget, like, she yelled out, like, I wouldn't even say she yelled. It was like, she roared. That was, like, the best way I could describe it. Like, uh she roared. And it almost felt like, like, it's unconditional love that a parent has for their kids. So, like, I get it, but then I don't understand because I'm not a father. So, like, or, a mom. So, just seeing that and then seeing his body go was insane. It was, yeah.
So who was in the room?
Yeah, it was me, my mom, my brother. Unfortunately, my dad couldn't make it. He was working. He just missed it. So it was me, my mom, my brother, and usually when they send like people who are gonna like die from cancer, they send them home with like a home attendant. So we had a home attendant. I know, well, I forgot her name. I think it was like Ingram or something. So it was just us four.
So where was this in the house?
So it was like in the basement. Yeah, in the basement. Yeah, in the basement part of the house.
That was always his room, or that you guys turned that into an impromptu room?
Yeah, we turned that into the like just the final. Yeah, we didn't want to bring him back to the room that he was already like sleeping in and everything. It just we didn't because it would have been such a hassle to take him out from the stairs, and just the aftermath of it. It's not. I'm not saying it's like a spiritual thing, but like you just don't want that feeling that knowing that he died right next to your bedroom, or what I'm saying. The basement was just like the basement. You don't really go down there like that.
This is your younger brother?
My older
brother.
Yeah.
So how many siblings do you have? Where are you on the ladder?
Just one. Just one. I was now like technically like only child right now.
And how much older was he?
Just 10 years. Yeah, 10 years. I'm 24 right now. He would have been 34.
And what's your race, ethnicity, and nationality?
Okay. I'm Dominican. Yeah, Dominican, and yeah. Can I ask you something, Smallz? Do I look Dominican, by any chance?
I leave my opinion out of
All
it.
right, cool.
But if you want to ask the audience, you can.
Oh, okay. Can y'all please tell me if I do look Dominican? And I really feel like I look like African American, but I'll just leave that up to you. I know at heart that's.
And for those watching, you can place a comment on this interview. Now, your parents, they speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Broken Spanish, not broken Spanish, excuse me. They speak fluent Spanish, broken English.
Fluent Spanish, broken English. Perfect way to describe it. Yeah.
And let's take it all the way back.
Okay.
When it comes to this cancer your brother had, how was this discovered? And what type of cancer was it exactly?
Okay, great question. My brother had gastric cancer, so like stomach cancer, and it's crazy. I remember I was in the house one day, and just chilling, whatever, and he got really sick. Like he was just throwing up everything he ate, and we not thinking nothing of it. We just thinking, he wasn't the most like healthy either, so we just thinking, he just had something bad, some bad halal or pizza or whatever, and sorry.
If you need there paper towel to the side if you need it.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna dug this one out.
Take your time. This is not the easiest subject to talk about, so.
Yeah, I got this. I got this. No way to either. We got this. We're gonna go through. But so yeah, he was pretty much he was just going back and forth from the hospital, just always throwing up everything. And he went one day and they were like, hey, we don't know what it is. We tried this, we tested this, we did endoscopy, and like we're just gonna have to open up and see, And now it's funny because like just a little like tangent. By that point, I'm not thinking. I was already kind of dealing with like depression. I kind of hate, for the better part, like I don't want to like I hate self-diagnosing myself, right? I don't really like when people do that because it's like a lot of times when people are depressed, they really just want attention, and I feel like when you're depressed, that's a real illness. Like that's just as serious as the next illness. So I would say I was depressed at that point, but this is what like really dragged it for me, and oh man, like everything just started like going downhill from there, and I started experimenting with like opioids, Percocet, Xans. I got into a really, really, really bad addiction. Like, I'm sorry for the long tangent, but the opioid. Yeah. So just to go back to my brother, right? So he had the, they when they opened him up, they found out they had a tumor in his stomach, and then that's how they were able to tell. And they were saying that, it was already stage 3, so they were just gonna try to do chemo and see where it went from there. But, that's when we found out that it was like, oh man, yeah, everything went crazy from there.
According to WebMD, and there's stage 0, stage 1, stage 2, 3, and 4.
Correct.
Stage 2 and 3 mean the cancer is larger and has grown into nearby tissues or lymph nodes.
Yes. That's exactly. It was funny because like he was you said all the stages, right? You have like little subpar stages of the stage. So you can have a stage 2A, stage 2AB, you know what I'm saying? So my brother was literally at stage 3B, like right before terminal, So there was still like that little, that leap of hope, but yeah, the lymph nodes and everything increasing from there is, yeah.
Stage 4 means the cancer is spread to other parts of your body.
Yeah. That was yeah. But for all we know,
he was on the cusp of that.
The cusp of it, correct.
At what age was he when this was discovered?
30. And took him out like 6 months after that. So he was able to turn 31 after that. But yeah.
Did they say he was gonna last for 6 months? Did they have a different number to it?
You ask great question. I'm so happy I'm here. Like I know the topic is really sad, but I'm really grateful just that I'm here right now. I just want to say that. But when we initially found out, we spoke to like a gazillion different doctors, and I remember going up to this one guy, and he was just like, "I'm gonna be honest with you, man. He probably won't last more than." He actually told me 3 months, which was kind of surprising. He told me 3 months. That was it. But so he ended up like beating that by another 3 months, which is cool. I guess like I'm grateful for everything. I'm grateful about everything. So any more time I could get, I'll do it. But yeah.
So when your brother initially finds out the cancer, does he know about the 3 months?
No. That I kept that completely secretive of him. Just to describe who he was like a very like introverted, very anxious person. So I knew telling him that would have made him lose his mind. It's actually, it's crazy because now that I'm thinking about it, when you're in these situations, and I would love for the viewers, whoever's watching this, to like, please feel free to talk about this in the comments or hit me directly, when it's crazy when you're in a predicament where your life is like, where you're about to die, or in some severe case, it's crazy how much you think about how much you didn't enjoy life in the first place. So a lot of the time my brother would have like these, and correct me if I'm wrong, Smallz, but they're like these kind of instances of midlife crisis kind of thing. So like, when he found it out, like I remember him venting to me like, yo, I feel like I haven't traveled enough. I don't feel like I've made enough friends. I'm a pretty outgoing person, and like, the opposite of an introvert, So he would tell me like, yo, I like that you have a lot of friends. I feel like I haven't enjoyed enough of my life to get friends, or, and that right there was the killer, because you feel like, he never really got a chance to really, I guess, live or like, experience the real fruits of what we get out of life, and that a lot of people take for granted,
Did he want to know how much time he had left? He wasn't even thinking like that?
I love you, Smallz. I'm sorry. Wow. No. I don't, we never talked about it, A lot of the times what I would try to do as I'm the younger brother, but I felt like I had to play the older brother role in this, I was like his only main strength. So I would just, whatever if it was cancer related or anything about dying or whatever, like I would just try to tangent it and not have him focus on it. I think that's the best way to go about it when you're going through the chemo or the radiation process, or even if you just have cancer and just want to natural it out, by all means, But you try not to bring it up as much and just have them focus on. I feel like in some weird way, like when you put good energy out to yourself, and through prayer and everything like that, like you kind of make your body reverse the illness. That's what I believe, at least. Like, so yeah.
What were your parents thinking at this time? Were they optimistic about this, stage 3B, or not?
Yo, they weren't, like I said, they didn't have the best English. So I was the main person talking to all the doctors and translating it to my parents. And excuse me. And when I translated it to my parents, I will keep that type of stuff out. I wouldn't want to tell my mom that, I've been hurt, because at the end of the day, it's not guaranteed. A doctor can tell me I have this such and such amount of time to live, but then, I'm gonna just create more anxiety for my mother, and my dad. And I feel like if I just hold that information, stay strong about it, keep them to where what they know, whatever is important to know. I feel like knowing the amount of time, an estimated amount of time, isn't important as opposed to just, taking care of the moment as is.
Is a will created? Was there a will prior to this that he had already?
Man, he didn't make a will, but I'll tell you one thing, and this is one thing I've really loved about my brother. He made almost like this kind of, it was the craziest thing in the world. Like, you know what a like time capsule is, right? Ever heard of that? He made like this little CD back in like 2009, and the CD literally says, "Do not open this CD. Do not play the CD on the video tape or whatever until 2021." And it's a really big coincidence. Like I promise you, I'm not making this up. Like I have the CD, and he put like in this video, it was like pretty much it was just him vlogging, almost kind of just, it was a video of him with like this old tape recorder, and he was just like that he burnt out, he just in his room just talking like, "Hey, what's up guys," talking about how much he loved life already by 2009. He's like, if you're, and he kind of talks about it like as if like, he's talking to the people from the future, people 10 years from now, in a whole decade, So what he does in the video is like he takes a camera, he like, he goes to Google, shows what's happening right there. And, I think Obama was president at that time, like just going on Google, see what's on the search engine, all that, So when people watch it 11 years later, it's like, damn, times have changed, And so in that, to answer your question, in that, he was saying, like, and it's the most bizarre thing, he was like, "Hey, if I'm not alive by this time, just know, like, I love you guys." And, like, to me, my mom and my brother, and for whatever reason, I love you guys. And that was that was the craziest part to me. So it's not necessarily a will, but that was, like, something that he left behind. That was, like, a kind of similar to that.
This was something you knew he left behind way before the cancer situation?
No, not at all. Like my mom found it during the whole process of the cancer. I remember she pulled me to the side in the house one day, and she was just like, "Yo, I just found this CD in Junior's room." Now my brother was in the hospital at this point, so we were in the house and we were like fetching through stuff, and we found that, and. My brother didn't tell us like before we died, like, "Hey, look, there's a CD. I need you guys to see it." We just found it, and that's just how we went about it.
When did you watch it?
I listened. I waited to 2021, literally January 1st, like that week, and I watched it. I watched it through, and
When did he pass away?
He died in 2018, February 19th of 2018.
So you followed the instructions. You guys didn't try to jump the gun and try to watch it a year before? Or?
We waited all the way to that mark, just out of respect for him. Because if I had did the same thing, I would want, and it made it better for sure. Like,
so the whole family watched it at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
What, like after midnight on December 31st?
Great question. Now, we waited, like, I didn't want to do it on the 1st. Like, come on, it's New Year's, like, Eve, we're all, like, we're just not trying to. I would say, like, maybe, like, the 3rd or the 4th. Somewhere around that week, like, on a morning that we were off all together. And we just, like, yeah, why not?
How long was that video?
About 10 minutes. About 10 minutes. No, yeah, ironically, 10 minutes,
This cancer, is this something that runs in your family at all?
Nah, not really. Not really. Probably like one or two people within the bloodline, but not something that was just like generation, family, like grandmother. Everybody had it. Like, no.
Is there any reason why he got this in particular?
No, I don't know. I don't know. I always have like my own little personal thoughts on it. Like, I think maybe cancer comes. Like I hear cancer comes from freaking carcinogens from meat, and it could come from however your body just does like just have this weird way of like just doing that to yourself. And so I don't know. I don't know if I fully believe that it's hereditary, but there's patterns, and I don't want to take away from that idea, but that's how I feel.
So are there known family members in your tree that have had this cancer?
Yeah. Yeah.
From your mother's side, father's side?
From my father's side, yeah. From my father's side, like one person though, and it's like one and one, like so one from my mom, one from my dad's side, yeah.
Could this cancer have been prevented at all?
Great question. Like I said before, my brother didn't eat the healthiest, but he never like, it's so crazy because like I try to think maybe, it comes from, how you got like lung cancer from like people smoking cigarettes or anything. My brother didn't smoke, my brother didn't drink. It puzzled me. This whole thing puzzled me. It took me out of thinking how I was initially thinking before, and it was like, how can cancer be even prevented? I think the healthiest people could get cancer, and it's just crazy.
Could this cancer have been discovered earlier?
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
What could have been done? How could this have been spotted earlier so it could have been found in an earlier stage for a better chance of survival?
Endoscopies on a regular, CAT scans, every few years or so. I feel like after like 21, maybe you should start picking up on that early. Like every 3 years or so, get an endoscopy. It takes like an hour to do. It's painless, and if that was the case for us, we probably would have still had my brother.
Is that something you've personally done yet?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. After that, I was it's funny. Yeah. 3 months after my brother died, I went and did a CAT scan, and they found a picture of a mango. They found a mango-sized tumor in my pelvis, and they had to do all the testing on me and stuff, and it was pretty much settled. Like everybody in the hospital was like, yeah, you probably got cancer as well. And I remember that day, I just sat down, gave my life. I feel like I just gave my life to God and just prayed, and I did whatever I could at the moment, just tried to stay positive, and then thank God it was benign. It was a big crazy surgery I had to do, and that came out. So thankfully, I didn't get cancer, and yeah.
So do they still take that mango situation out of your body, even though it's benign?
Yeah. You got to remove it. Once you got that, yeah, you take out the mass, remove whatever's like around it, and make sure that it doesn't replicate today. Now it's been about 2-3 years now, and it hasn't came back. If I may just add on a little bit, I'm thinking about myself just like how the transition I had, from going from like right before my brother died, I was draining. I was taking pills every day, to try to. I felt like that was the way of substituting, sex, pills, drinking. That was like the thing that helped me, like just get away from dealing with the reality of what was actually going on. There was this one night I took, like legit, I probably took like 12 pills. Like this was I was already having suicidal thoughts. Just for context, this was before I found out my brother was gonna die. I was already having suicidal thoughts and having depression, and I even planned to like Instagram live my own suicide. Like pop pills, pop as probably like half it, 6 Xans, 6 perks, and just jump off a building. Like that's how just deranged I was. And I'm thank God, like I've just everybody, it actually just took for one night where I was just sitting there. I was making music at the time, I was there. There was around the time my first album came out, and I remember just sitting there, and it just really, really took like I remember my boy Fresco and Woozy, they came to my house, and they literally just they knew what was going on with like the family. I was dealing with stuff with like my ex, and I remember sitting there thinking like, it just took for them to just be like, hey, are you okay? And that by itself, I don't know what it was. That right there just made me change everything. I remember just breaking down, crying in front of them, and shout out to them. And T-Face, the hood pop star, shout out to him too. He was there helping me a lot through that, and just thinking like that was that moment for me that helped me get up out of that phase. They held me. I cried, and like I didn't want to do none of that no more. I didn't want to be depressed no more. I wanted to try to be strong.
So you beat your addiction there?
The day I found out my brother was dying, when my birthday, the doctors came up to our family and was like, yo, your brother is not going to make it. His body actually created more tumors off the chemo. Now I have like this crazy rage against chemo and like those type of medicines, because like now I feel like you could do it naturally through like, fruit and vegetables, chlorophyll, all that, and when the day of my birthday when they told me that was gonna happen, I just devoured myself to just stop taking pills after that. That was the last moment for me where I was like, yeah, I can't do this no more. I can't, like. And then I remember I remember experiencing like these crazy withdrawals after, like literally like a day after. I was sweating, I was hungry, I was cold, I was warm. It's a real thing. Like going cold turkey is not easy. Yeah.
Did your brother or your parents know you had this going on? Did they know about the self-diagnosed depression, suicidal thoughts, attempt for maybe a suicide plan, the addiction to opioids?
Great question. My mom, I remember it was this one time, like just around that same week of my birthday, early February, I was in the house. My mom was going to the hospital, always, checking up on my brother and everything. And so to answer your question, no, my parents did not know a thing. Like I kept that solid away from them because I needed them for me to see that I was strong from this facade, that I was broken inside, but I needed them to think that I was strong so they could be strong themselves. If they come and they already see that, my brother's already dying from cancer, and they see that I'm falling from depression and having this pill addiction, then it was gonna be hell for her. And I took that in consideration, even though like suicide is hella selfish. Let me make that clear. Suicide is hella selfish. You should never do it. It's messed up. I'm not talking about this to glorify it either, just to get that out there. But to answer your question, yeah, there was this one night where my mom came back. So my brother had he was prescribed Percocets for his pain. And me, like a dumbass, like I took the bottle, I started taking it, I started selling it. It was insane. Like it was like a 90 pill bottle, and I probably ran down like 50 of them in like that same week. So when my mom came home to get the pills for my brother to go back to the hospital, she came into my room and was like, I remember I had one of my boys recording in my house at the time. So my mom comes in the room, she's like, yo, let me talk to you. All right, what's up? So we go to the room, and she's like, yo, what is the meaning of this? Why, pill bottle with half the pills in it. He's just like, what's the meaning of this? Why is this empty? I didn't even touch this. And I was like, damn. I think I'm gonna have to tell my mom about my pill addiction. And I'm sorry for laughing. It's just like, just think about it. It's crazy to me. Like, so I remember just telling her, and she was so mad at me. Like, she was furious. Like she screamed at me and just went back to the hospital, whatever pills was left, and she's like, "We're not even gonna handle this right now. Like, how you not gonna tell me?" She was mad that I didn't tell her I was going through all these things, but I did it because I thought that was the right thing to do at the moment. Unfortunately.
So what did you tell her?
Told her straight up, like, hey, you know, I've been trying to stay strong about this whole situation, but like it's hard. It's like I feel like I couldn't tell my mom. I feel like I couldn't vent to her. I couldn't vent to her. I started. I ended up getting professionally like diagnosed by doctors that I had depression, anxiety, whatever. But telling my mom, like I feel like I couldn't speak to her. Like I said before, it took for someone to ask me if I was okay in order for me to speak. So I kept that all in, and I just told her, like, hey, just told her everything. Like, I'm having suicidal thoughts. I've been taking all these pills a day, and I was, just, I didn't tell her about the planned suicide. I didn't want to get too great, but I did tell her a vast majority of what I was going through at the moment. She just took it as like, you know what, let's not deal with this right now. I'm going back to the hospital to see your brother. Just, and yeah, that was just what it was. Right.
What do you end up getting diagnosed with yourself?
Yeah, depression and anxiety, like in the scientific way of it. I can't remember the name, but yeah, it was so fun. It's crazy. Smallz, like, I was already getting Percocets and Xans and whatever from the street, from the black market. But then when I saw my name on the canister of a bottle, like the psych prescribed me Xanax and with my name on it, that shit right there, like, I don't know, it was crazy. Like I was getting them for me as opposed to like, I don't know, the psychology behind that is what fucked me up right there for sure.
But they gave you Xanax not knowing you were addicted to opioids?
Yeah, they at the time they didn't know. Like I kept that from them. I'll be honest. Like I lied about that, and I just told them like, yo, I told them everything I was going through, but I didn't tell them that I was already indulging in the medication that they already was about to prescribe me in a lower dose.
Because you wanted that medication for your addiction? Or you didn't even know they were going to give this
I didn't know.
You?
No, I didn't know. I didn't know at all. Like, they just was like, hey, look, I'm going to prescribe you Xanax. And they were just giving me the rundown, even though I already knew what it was. And just, I remember that. But, yeah, that's how it went down, for sure.
So they didn't know they were feeding into your addiction?
No.
Mm-mm. So I'm a little confused here. Maybe you've said this already.
Okay.
I don't know. But when do you actually beat the addiction?
Yeah, so the day of my birthday, when the doctors came and told me, like, yo, your brother's going to die, that was that last day. My birthday was my last day taking them. And I went cold turkey. I got the withdrawals. I experienced all that, but after like a couple months, my body slowly developed, like, your body really craves it. You get addicted. It's not just with pills. It could be with sex. It could be with porn. It could be with alcohol. It could be with basketball, like anything. I think any addiction you have, if you go cold turkey, you're gonna get the withdrawals and your body will crave it, and you won't. And when you fight against it, your body will fight against you to grab that urge that your body desires. So like, yeah, that's how it happened. Like found out my birthday, I beat it there, just went cold turkey, didn't stop taking them.
And what about the depression and anxiety you were diagnosed with? Have these been two items you've been able to overcome, or you still battle with?
Yeah,
today?
definitely. Like I mentioned before, I think when I didn't fully beat the depression after, like my brother died, so that was like, and then having to deal with the depression of my mom, seeing my mom's pain every day, and then even with years going by, like I still see the pain. It almost feels like it happened yesterday every day. Not a lot of like my friends really know that that I go through this on a regular, but it's it is what it is. That's the That's the gist of it. But when beating the depression, I think happened after I got my surgery. When I realized it, like I said before, it's like when you're put in these situations to like these life changing situations, it makes you appreciate life. It makes you think about like, hey, you know, I should do this. I want to do this about life. I want to travel. I want to do this. So when they diagnosed me with the mango-sized tumor and they took it out, once I didn't have cancer, I took that as a sign to, yo, God, thank God, like I just went forward and it's just been happy ever since. My music changed, like, and I also believe that the energy you put out kind of reverts like back into you. So a lot of times if you talk about death a lot, you talk about depression a lot, you talk about the more you speak that, it comes back around in a weird way. The universe has this funny way of doing that. Like, there's a lot of examples of artists that, I won't name, but like, a lot of people, I would want a lot of people to think about this. Like, the more you talk about happiness, the more you exert that energy of, of what you want, what you manifest, that's what you gravitate to. So at that time, I was always talking about death. I was talking about depression. I was talking about suicide. And I feel like unknowingly I was creating that for myself, and so now that I'm out that happiness stage, that transition came with me in my life. When I got happy, a lot of things started happening. Music changed, my life changed, my mentality changed. I feel like I lost my pride, my ego. Yeah.
So say that one more time. I'm sorry.
That's cool.
Which did you overcome both?
Yeah,
the depression and anxiety?
Yeah, the depression and anxiety hand in hand, yeah.
At the same time or
time.
Different occasions?
Same time. I feel they're two different things, and I get that. There's people who get anxiety, and it's like a occurring thing even without without a trigger. But for me, depression and anxiety came hand in hand. When I was depressed, I was anxious. When I'm anxious, I'm depressed. So them together, threw that in the trash can, and now I'm happy as forever.
And you overcame that with the news of no cancer, or was it something?
Yeah, once I got that opportunity, exactly. Yeah, once I got that opportunity to not have to go through that whole process, I just had to take out the tumor. I was good. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna live a new life a different way. And it's crazy because like they always say like things happen for a reason, but when you're in the situation, you're not thinking about things are happening for a reason. But now in hindsight, now like I'm looking at it, it's like wow, things do happen for a reason. Because if that didn't happen, then I don't know if I'd be out of the depression or like that state.
Do you follow a religion?
Yeah, I want to say I walk the walk of Christ, of following Christ. I'm not the most perfect, I'm not the most consistent, but I noticed that in my life, that's what stuck with me. But I believe that it's energy, and I do believe that Christ is the way.
And why that religion there, Christianity?
Christianity, great question. I guess when I look at everything combined of my own research, like I try to be as non-ignorant as possible. So when I look at all the other religions, I try to see the one that kind of just doesn't contradict itself the most, and in hindsight, maybe like me going through what I'm going through, I feel like I had to hold on to something, some type of faith, some type of hope, and that's what it was for me. I had a great pastor, a great church, Emmanuel Church. Like they reside in Hunts Point, and no, not Hunts Point, Kelly Street in the Bronx. Go check that out. But they were the ones that come in supporting, praying for me, and 9 times out of 10, whenever stuff happened, it went the way that the prayer was going. So I guess maybe I just naturally gravitated. But I don't like shitting on like Catholicism or all the other religions like that, because at the end of the day, everybody has its teachers on.
So is it a certain denomination under Christianity you follow?
Okay, so yeah, because you got like Seventh-day Adventists, you got Pentecostal, everyone. I just like to say I like radical Christianity, where like people actually follow Jesus for who he is. There's a lot of times like Christianity paints this picture of this like just go to church, go to church, you know, listen to the word, pray, tithe, and you know, that's it, you know. But in actuality, in the Bible itself, like Christ was doing the complete opposite, you know, like Christ was there, like, you know, like really, 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 like, not for lack of a better term, put it in that work, you know what I'm saying? So radical Christianity, I feel like, is the one where you actually follow how Christ lived, actually sacrificing, you know, like, you know, clearing away your sin, sacrificing for Christ, you know, and doing the walk.
Were you raised to follow Christianity?
No, no, I wasn't. I was yeah, I probably didn't find it out. I didn't find out about God or anything until like eighth grade, like eighth, ninth grade. That's when I started like hearing about it, listening. My pastor, you know, he was informing me around that time, and yeah, not definitely didn't grow up in it though.
What's been the reaction from your parents to you following radical Christianity?
My parents, you know, wow, that's a great question. My parents, they're supportive of whatever, you know. You know, they have their own thoughts about it. They're not, it's not like they follow it with me, but you know, and not to say I don't want to sound like a hypocrite either. Like I don't want to say I follow it the best that I can either, but you know, I try to preach it as much as I can, and you know, try my best with it, because I definitely, you know, this flesh is crazy, the temptation and everything.
When it came to the cancer your brother was battling, was this something that you shared, this journey, this experience, on social media?
Great question. More through music. You know, I you know, urge a lot of you to check out a lot of my earlier albums. Pretty much, I have 3 albums out, so like anyone, I feel like I get real transparent about my life. I literally have songs titled like my brother just died from cancer. Here's a song about it. Like that's the title. You know, I'm very like I give my whole life into it. So you know, that's the that's the best way. I wouldn't say through social media. That's kind of, and I'm sorry for anybody that does it. It's kind of cringy when I don't know, when I see people post someone that died and they're like, oh, you know, it almost like when they're talking to them, but I get it. Like, yo, please don't crucify me. Like, I get why people do that. You know, they go on social media, post a picture of them and their deceased one, and you know, right, however they feel, like if they're writing to them. But I just feel like you could keep that to yourself. So, but through music, I had to do that. Like, I had to express my all of that, everything, everything I'm talking about.
Were you expressing this while he was alive and battling it, or was this more so after?
Great question. I have literally, so you know how I said I have a song called "My Brother Just Died from Cancer." So here's a song about it. I have a song before that called "My Brother Just Got Diagnosed with Cancer." So I have a song before and after death. Like the before is just me expressing how I felt about it and just singing it out, and the after song, you know, is like me expressing my anger and just like how I was feeling at the time after the death, you know. And not for nothing, you know, like the day that my brother died, you know, me, my mom, and my dad, we stood in that basement together, and we all slept together. And you know, it's a very, you know, it was very, the room felt like it was frozen. It was dark, and you know, just this bad, terrible thing just happened. I remember just playing this instrumental. I just found like soothing instrumental, and it was just a piano playing at this like soft rate, you know. And so after some months, after I did better with Grieving, I took that same exact beat and I made a song right over it, just over that piano. So you know, that song is out. So pretty sure if you search my name up, it'll pop up instantly. But yeah.
When it came to the cancer of your brother and that experience, what did that teach you? What did you learn from all this?
I learned that life is short. Life is short. You can't take it for granted. You know, take the time to really tell your people that you love them every chance you get. You know, every freaking chance you get. You fighting with your brother, dead that shit right there, and try to find a way to, that's the type of person I am. I always try to avoid and take away from conflict because like sometimes when we get in those stages, right? Like it's the worst. Like if you're in a bad stage with a person and they die, and it's just like, damn, what the actual fuck were we fighting for, you know? So that's something I learned, and I learned that try to I try to encourage, try to just take care of yourself, mentally for sure.
Looking back, would you have done anything different?
I think there were definitely times that when my brother was diagnosed with cancer, like it was hard to talk to him. It was hard to just approach him and talk to him like a regular person, knowing that this stuff was eating him alive. So I wish that I could go back and really just face that fear. Face that look that because I don't want to show him. I didn't want to show him tears. I didn't want to show him that to be scared. Like I was just trying to say like, yo, you got this. You're gonna go make it through it. That's how you're supposed to treat the situation, I believe. So I think maybe if I look back, there were times that I just needed to be by myself. So I would push him away sometimes so I could just my ex at the time was like, she was helping me a lot with just that whole situation. I remember she had, ain't no malice with her, so shout out to her for that. Like she was helping me a lot through that crucifying moment for me. So I tried to just to answer the question, like I wish I could have went back and just knowing I still had the backbone I did, I could just talk to him more than I already did. And I feel like I already spoke to him a lot, but just more in that regard, yeah.
I do want to ask you this. When it came to the point where he's in the basement and the doctor said he has a week to live, and he ended up living for 9 days before he passed, I think that's what you said. Did he know that? Did he know? Because I know there were times where, you heard about this 3 months and it was really 6 months and you kept it away from your parents in translation and you didn't tell him about it. But did he know he had a week left?
So, I'm sorry, when
Take your time.
I got this. When we found out, they told all of us, and I remember there was just this silence in the room after they left. It was me, my mom, my dad, and my brother, just in this hospital bed room, and we were sitting there. So he knew he wasn't gonna make it. He already knew that he had to prepare himself for the next chapter. A lot of people like to call it. So I remember just sitting there, and he tried, like I remember he was just so, like he was just smiling. Like he was smiling. We were all just sitting there with like the tightest heart, and we're all around him. And I remember him just grinning just the whole time, like in silence, literal silence for like 10 minutes. And we had played a song. I forgot. It's like this, I think it's like a Sam Smith song or something. We played this song in there. And I remember just sitting there, and he just didn't say a word. So to answer your question, like days after, when he was at the basement, he didn't talk much. He was already like the cancer. It's a lot of people who don't know, right? Like when you're dying from cancer, at least in particular in this situation, like it's like your body just starts giving out. Like so you would like he'll be talking and then just out of nowhere he'll just daze out. So I could just be like, yo, DJ Smallz, like, and just, not, I'm sorry to paint that scary image, but just, just for the realness of it, just, hey, so DJ Smallz, yeah, can I get and then like eyes would roll back and I'd have to sit there and, try to, hey, and then he'll come back like, oh yeah, and then it's like he wouldn't even know. That's how it almost seemed like. And so, yeah, they were like towards like the day right before, like I feel like he knew, but we never talked about it. We never like we never said like, hey, I'm dying, or we're talking about it. Like, nah, it was just, his body he was making noises. He was making weird noises, weird faces, weird. Every day I remember me and T-Face, we had went to the hospital around that time, and like I remember when me and him walked into the room, and he was literally laying there with his eyes rolled behind his head. I thought he died at that point, and we went in the room, he just like went back. So yeah, to answer that question, that's how it went. We didn't talk about it or anything. It just happened.
So during that last 9 days, what is he doing? I mean, is he watching TV? Is he playing video games or trying to? Is he talking on the phone when he can and having, I mean, what is happening during those what are the conversations you or your parents are having with him during these 9 days? What's going on during those 9 days?
Great question. We tried to put like TV on for him, play video games, but it's like, yo, his fingers would like stop working. Like, so we just try to let him play like GTA or something, like just drive around in a car, and it's like he'll just give out and he was like really in oblivion, like for lack of a better example, just out of it, just dazed for days, like hours, and just, every day you just got to think like, oh, today could be the day. Like, it's almost I don't mean for this to sound as messed up as it's about to sound, but like, that anticipation is what kills you. You get to tell your loved one, like, you love them, and, prepare that goodbye, but it's like you almost kind of want it to happen already, because you're just, it's like you play double dutch and you just kind of like, you don't know when to jump in. Like, that's what that feeling is like, in a weird analogy way, like, so. Yeah, that's what, and then like the very last hour before he died is when we really just, me and my mom, we just went in his ear and we just told him how much we love him and how much, how grateful we were for him being in our lives, and, just telling him telling him how much, how, especially for me, he was my older brother, so he helped me with mad shit. Like, man, so that was how it panned out. Oblivion, up until the last moment. We couldn't really do much. He was just out of it.
Did he have any kids or a significant other?
No, that was a rough one, because like, a lot of, the midlife crisis thing I alluded to earlier, it was like, he said he wanted to travel, he wanted friends, and he also wanted a wife and to start a family, and unfortunately he never got to get to that stage. So no, he didn't have a wife or kids or anything like that.
Was he living on his own prior to the cancer diagnosis?
No, we were all together in the same house.
Yeah. Did he have a job at the time?
Yeah, he was doing like security / porter work, like residential buildings out in New York, downtown.
Is he still going and doing his job while he's while he's getting treated with chemo and things of that nature, or does it stop at some point?
I think once the chemo, great question, when the chemo happened, we already just took him out, because that chemo is no joke. Like, you can't work in those conditions for sure. So yeah, he didn't go back to work, unfortunately.
What happens? Okay. Do you think he was in pain at all in those 9 days?
Oh yeah, so that's a great point. So they sent him home with like this drip of like morphine, so you could like click at it at any time, which was kind of like, which was good at the long run, because we felt like he had a very painless death. The morphine was in his system all throughout those days, you know, up until that last moment where his heart just gave out. So yeah, that was pretty much it right there.
After he passes away, and how he passes away is you saw his last breath. You see, I believe you said his eyes roll back.
Yeah, the last breath was like, oh man, I'll describe it. Yeah, why not? You know, I hope somehow this helps the next person. So why not just talk about it? Like that last breath was like his eyes didn't roll back. It felt like he was almost like choking. You know, it was like this. His face turned purple. Like he just. Sorry for the representation, but his eyes almost kind of looked like it popped out. And you know, it's more exaggerated than that how it looked, but that's just the way I want to, you know, put it out for the camera. Like just his tongue kind of like just stretched out, and he just and just froze right in me and my mom's arms. And I remember just seeing that. I was just like, you know, he's in my arms, and my mom is just. It felt like it felt like the room froze up, and I couldn't hear nothing. It's like you ever like dove underwater, and you just it kind of just sounds like it's silent, but you could hear stuff going on just aside from like the water around. That's what it felt like. My mom was screaming at the top of her lungs with her heart. It's like her heart got torn apart. I'm watching my brother die, and it just silent. I can't describe it more better than that, but yeah.
So do the eyes remain open?
Yeah, the eyes remained open. Yeah. It was rolling back, and just through oblivion, like he'll just be straight and then, boom, roll back, boom, roll back, boom, roll back. But up until that moment, it's like he just, and then his eyes stood the same though.
So then what happens at this point? Does the attendant come in and is there a sheet placed over him?
Yeah. Oh man.
Is an ambulance called?
Yeah. So the attendant came in. You know, she was more focused on trying to help my mom. You know, because my mom was just everywhere. You know, and the process. You know, the process that goes from here is like, yeah, you call the aftercare cancer people that kind of deal with this type of stuff. You tell them like, you know, you need people to come and pick up the body to bring it to, you know, the morgue and stuff like that. So I remember the worst part about it is that my brother's body stood. So we had godparents, you know, my godparents came, my pastor, his wife came, and we were all in the room together, and my brother's body is just laying there on his couch. We're all like surrounding him, and we were just there for like 45 minutes inside the room with his dead corpse, you know, and my mom didn't want to leave, you know. My mom was attached to that body. She could not get off, you know. So, but when the people came to take his body, like we had to like move her to the other room so they could take her. But that's how that process goes. So, yeah, you don't call like the ambulance or anything. It's like a certain type of like more caretaker like kind of people.
Was there a smell or odor associated with this?
That's funny. I was afraid of that, but at the moment, nah. Especially if it was only like an hour. I don't think the body starts like smelling weird until after. But nah, it's just this pale body just laying there, and no smell, no smell.
I remember you saying something about his face turning purple. Does that dissipate?
Yeah, that definitely after like 10 or 20 minutes, yeah, it just becomes paler, like almost just like this white background, you know, like it just becomes. But at the moment where it's like, yeah, like if you're getting strangled, like your face would like just purple up or turn red and stuff, and yeah, that would be that's what yeah, and after like maybe 10 or 20 minutes, you just see it start like slowly getting into white.
Do the eyes eventually close?
Yeah, what I did, I made sure to close them. Like I just didn't
Oh.
want to. Yeah, they stay open though. Like I know sometimes they stay open, they close, but I just at the moment I just kind of like how like the movies do it. Yeah, just.
Was your father upset he didn't see this, or he wasn't part of this experience, or was he glad maybe he didn't want to see this?
My dad is he's a funny person. Like my dad is he doesn't like expressing emotions. So that's something I learned through this situation. And my dad has like this. It's not to say he was glad. He came after he died, so he was there part with this whole situation.
With the circle?
With the circle, yeah. He was there for that. But I wouldn't say I'm actually happy that he wasn't there. I didn't want to see him, like, cause I know he doesn't like getting emotional and stuff. But he was emotional. But yeah, that's another thing I learned. Just to tangent off what you said earlier, I'm one thing I definitely learned that is like. I feel like I never hung out with my family before my brother had cancer. A lot of times, like, my mom would be in her room, I'll be in my room, my brother would be in her room, my dad's at work. Like, we were never connected. It's crazy. Like, when this happened, it's like we became, like, so close. And, like, I feel like I started learning more about, I learned more about my brother in that 6 months than I did in my whole life. More about my mom than my whole everything. My mom, my dad, my brother. I learned so much because we had to constantly keep talking and bonding and helping each other. I just wanted to add that. I forgot about that. Yeah.
What do you say to somebody watching this interview that's taking care of a loved one with cancer?
I would say, please, please bring their hopes up the best you can. Don't make them feel like they're gonna lose. Make them feel like they're gonna beat this shit. Because they are. Right? You put that energy out there. You pray. Continue to just every millisecond with that person. You stay with them as much as you can. Tell them how much you love them. And when you're taking care of them, know what to do and what not to do, right? Know that you can't, you got to be understanding of their situation. Like if they're asking, a lot of times when you're in a situation, you're in need. They probably ask for a lot. Just thug it out. Do what they say and try to make them as happy because you never know if they could beat it or not. But yeah.
What do you say to somebody watching this interview that is suffering from cancer?
You're gonna beat that shit, man. You look at yourself right now. Look at yourself right now. Know your situation, and know that you're gonna beat that shit. Know that this is beatable. This is it's like you can make it past this. Just have the best mindset you can. Try to just keep fighting and fighting and fighting because you're gonna beat this.
Anything else that I didn't ask you in regards to dealing with somebody with cancer that people want to know?
I would say try to eat. I really feel like it's in the food. Like I don't know. This is a weird thing. I feel like, excuse me. Try to increase your fruit intake. Try to increase your your vegetables. Anything that can beat anything cancerous. Like anything not cancerous, but like I forgot the word. It's just like
Oxidant?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love you. Like antioxidants, exactly. That just try to place that more into your daily, not just for people with cancer, but because I feel like that helps. It helps with your energy, your immune system. Plus, when you're in that state, right, the more bullshit you feed yourself, you're gonna keep making it worse. So hydrate, everything. I think that's the best way.
Anything else in regards to this subject you want to mention that we didn't talk about? Or I didn't ask in regards to?
I feel like we got everything. Maybe two things. One, for the people that are suffering from addiction, I would like to mention that you know, you got people who are addicted to weed, you got addicted to people with pills, everything. But like people who are addicted to drugs, man, if you can't go cold turkey, you can't just stop it. At least try to reduce your intake because you don't know it, but you could become a burden to someone else from your addiction. You know, um, uh, you could be looked at a certain way, and I just want to say, you know, like I said, like it was one night I took like somewhere around 9 to 12 pills in one night, and I remember passing the fuck out. Like that's the day I almost, you know, committed suicide, and um, mm, and yeah, man, yeah, you know, try to take lower doses. Just try to fight at it. You know, the main thing is like be aware that you have an addiction. You know, that's the first step. Because a lot of people are in denial. I know a lot of people that I know that I know personally that is in denial. They'll try to make every excuse, and you know what if you feel that conviction right now, that what I'm saying, you know what I'm talking about. So, try to be aware first. Know that you have a problem. That's the best advice I could get, and everything will seep down from there. What to get help, to try battling this addiction and depression and everything.
And you beat your go ahead.
Oh, no, continue. I'll ask it after.
You beat your opioid addiction cold turkey.
Yeah, cold turkey. I don't being that it was on my birthday, it was just so tragic to me. I said, yo, fuck them pills. I'm done with them shits. I can't. I'll only take them if I have like real drastic pain, like how they're supposed to be taken. Like, so I had to go cold turkey. I couldn't do it because I know for me, like let's say, right, you could take a pill, you could take a half a pill and, you know, still feel like that buzz. But I know I'll just keep taking halves and then I'm gonna just pick back up on it. So I had to go cold turkey. That's just the way I felt like dealing with it. And yeah, sure enough, you know, kept me clean.